this is Professor Blakey. The title of tonight's video is, What is a Case? Are you seeking knowledge? Well, then you've come to the right place, Glen Maven Digital Publishing. What is a case? The word case has lots of different meanings. It could mean a medical case, a social sciences case, such as a sociology case study. But in our case, we're talking about legal cases. The word case is the same as the word claim, and the old-fashioned word for it was a cause of action, which meant a reason to go to court. The plaintiff is the person who's complaining, and the person who has the burden of proof in a case. They have to prove their case. And the other side, the defendant, just has to defend. So the plaintiff has the burden of proof. They could go to a trial, they could settle ahead of time, they could have a pretrial resolution of the case. Perhaps there could be appeal. You could appeal all the way to the Supreme Court in the state, or maybe even to the Supreme Court of the United States. There's both state courts and federal courts. The parts of a case are called elements. These are the items that the plaintiff has to prove. For example, in a car accident, the plaintiff might have to prove that the defendant was negligent and caused injury. The case in chief is the nickname or short name for the plaintiff's elements because the plaintiff has the burden of proof. In every case, there's a burden of proof. The plaintiff has to prove all their elements according to the standard of the burden of proof. If it's a civil case, the plaintiff has to prove preponderance of the evidence. If it's a criminal case, the plaintiff would be the prosecutor, and the prosecutor would have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. There's essentially two types of defenses. The negating defense is when the defendant can show that the plaintiff didn't make one of their elements. They didn't have the evidence to prove one of the items they had to prove. For example, perhaps there was negligence in a car accident, but there was no harm, and that's one of the elements the plaintiff has to prove. So negating defense is when the defendant's able to cross off one of the plaintiff's elements. An affirmative defense is when the defendant has to actually come forward with their own evidence. So the affirmative defense is when the defendant has to come forward with additional evidence on their side. If they have negating defense, they don't even really have to put on a case, but only say that the plaintiff did not make their case. So that's what a case is. A case is a cause of action or a claim. There are different kinds of remedies and different burdens of proof for the different parties, and there are different kinds of defenses.